So finally, our last question this week. I think we're about 25 minutes into the podcast. So time to come with a question like this. I seen a lot of band love on social media this week. You know, Lorena is all about their band going to state. I know the other night the Grandview folks were talking to me. They were really excited their band was going to state. They had this elaborate halftime sort of graphic boards. I don't know what you would call them. You know, these props with dragons and everything. So if you're a band director, you know, the announcer always says, this year, the Golden Wave Band celebrates the music of Elton John or something like that, you know? So what would your show be as a band director?
So this is an interesting question, and it doesn't necessarily mean to me that I would pick my favorite band, because does your favorite band bode well for marching band music? You know,
right.
I love U2, but I don't know if that works as a marching band kind of theme. So that said,
if you roll the Edge out there on a platform, you know, with an amplifier, it might. But go ahead.
It might, but and maybe I've even seen this before, but I feel like Queen works well for a marching band show. They've got a lot of great songs. I feel like you could speed it up, you could slow it down, you could do some fun things. Like, I mean, I could kind of see that show in my head where you start off with We Will Rock You, you know, and that kind of gets the crowd into it a little bit. At some point, you got to get into Bohemian Rhapsody. I mean, just because that would be sort of fun.
I would just love to hear the stadium PA announcer say, and now the band will play Fat Bottom Girls.
That would be funny. But, I mean, can't you just hear Bohemian Rhapsody with like the little flutes going, you know, you know?
Yeah. I can see the student section actually getting into that too, you know, little Wayne's World-esque student section.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it feels like the natural closing number there. And for me, if I'm the band director, which you said I am, I'm inviting like my best member of the high school choir to join us for this last number. And we're going, you know, Somebody to Love to end, and let them really belt it out, you know, and join the band. And I mean, that may be breaking the rules, but I don't care. It's my show.
If you have a Queen halftime show, how can you not close with We Are the Champions?
We Are the Champions. I thought about that too. But so yeah, you could go that route. That seems very like that's a given, you know. So I would might want to throw a little curveball in there with Somebody to Love.
Okay, well, mine would be the music of Rush, opening with Tom Sawyer and you know, just that would be it for me. Just open with Tom Sawyer, do whatever you want after that. I wanted to make a couple of points before we say goodbye. I was walking up the stands pregame a couple of weeks ago, and there's this kid with a trumpet. I can't remember. I think it was in Lorena, and this kid with the trumpet is warming up with Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones, and I was like, that's just high school band, high school football stuff to me, you know. And you know how I like to do the Happy Friday Night America and seek out like just things that just fit, that are just right, you know. And a trumpet player warming up with everything going on to Paint It Black by Rolling Stones. That's pretty perfect. The other thing is I almost chastised the Grandview band's bass player the other night. I walked by, and he has like an all black bass. And I'm like, I just wanted to go up to him and be like, dude, you're missing an opportunity here. You're the bass player for the Grandview Zebra band. How can you not have a zebra striped bass?
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Sad that the Grandview bass player didn't think of that, but
well, I'll just say it right here, since I didn't have the guts to tell him to his face. Send it out via the podcast and the internet. Maybe we can get that done. Let's get the Grandview bass player a zebra striped bass.
Yes, and
right.
I will also, while we're talking about bands, I will throw this out there. in some ways, I feel like I've mellowed in my old age, but that's probably not altogether true. I'm sure there's things that set me off. But I do remember when I was younger, I used to get a lot more animated or sort of angry about this, but band parents who leave after the band performs at halftime. I mean, look, you know, the football parents need to support the band and sit there and listen to the show. Yeah. But, you know, that works both ways. So stick around, watch the second half of the game. Like I said, I've kind of mellowed on that over the years, but I'm just throwing that out there. Don't leave after the band plays.
I mean, don't get me started. The one thing that makes me think of is when I park every Friday night, you know, and I'm looking around at the other cars around me, and I just think none of these cars will be here when I pull out later on.
That's a good point. We usually do shut it down. And speaking of that, let's shut it down.
All right. See y'all week 1 of the playoffs next week.
All right. Sounds good.